What's up, everybody? Well, I watched Raw last night. First time I had seen Raw probably since about 2006. I might have seen a snip or two of it as I turned by, the channels or whatever before, but I never really sat down and watched any of it. And man, times have changed a lot. I started watching wrestling when I was like 9 years old in 1985. There was no Raw. Raw wasn't invented until I was ready to get out of wrestling in 93. I remember shows like Primetime Wrestling that came on on Mondays, and you had on Sundays you had All American Wrestling. That's what I watched. And what else did they have back then? Oh, Saturday night's Main Event. That was the shit back in the 80s and the early 90s. I don't know exactly when it ever stopped, but Saturday night Main Event was great. And then in 93, I just lost touch, and a lot of the wrestlers I liked were leaving and retiring and stuff, and just it was changing a little bit by then already. And so I stopped watching it until 1998, 5 years later, when I got married, and my ex watched wrestling ever since she was like, I don't know, 4 or 5, and she just kept on watching it. So I got into it again, and that time it was the new era. Before I was growing up with Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, Macho Man Randy Savage, who else? I mean, Jake the Snake Roberts, Ultimate Warrior, all that stuff. But now it had done changed. Most of them had done left, went to the WCW, and now it was the new era. This is basically, the Attitude Era is what they called it. With Mick Foley, The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, people like that. So it changed a lot, because back before then, the ring was blue, had red, white, and blue ropes. And then I get on there and it's black, a ring with red ropes, and you got a black, pads and stuff around it. And back in the 80s, it had the little fence thing like up the railing or whatever, and then it was just a black like wall, that people could get thrown over and stuff. So that was a big difference back then. So I watched it all the way up to 2006, and of course, we got divorced and everything, and I didn't really watch it that much anymore, and then to the last few years, my son has really got into watching wrestling, and I've seen some figures and stuff he had, and, I caught a glimpse here and there when he was watching it or whatever, if he came over and stuff like that, but I just never really got into sitting down and watching it until last night, when I got on there and watched it, and oh my God, everything has changed so freaking much. I thought when the Titantron came out and everything, that was something, but now you've got so much glitz and glamour to this, and so many lights, and they changed all the belts from what I remembered. The Hogan belt, and then you had the ladies tag, the championship belt, the tag team belts and stuff's changed, and they got spinner things, and they're red and different other colors. I seen this chick on there, I think her last name was Bliss. She had a belt that was way too big for her, even though she is a tiny chick. But I remember Sable having a belt, and it was, a small belt, and, more feminine like. This right here looked really awkward on her, and it looked like she couldn't even hardly walk without it poking into her ribs or whatever. So that was different. I remember when I left watching wrestling back in 06 that JR and Jerry Lawler was commentating and shit. Not nowadays. You got Booker T that, I guess he retired and decided to do all this, and kind of like what the Macho Man did in the early 90s when he was kind of phased out, and then he left and went to WCW. And 2 other guys, I don't even know who the hell he was, talking. And the ring had actually pink and white ropes, but I believe it was just mainly because of breast awareness or whatever. Maybe it's just for this month. They also talked about SmackDown, and I remember when I was watching it, when SmackDown first came on, it was on Thursdays. Well, they said it was coming on Tuesday, the next day, and so that's really thrown me for a loop. I don't know if that's every week like that or what, but that was different. So yeah, I mean, they look like they really went over the top in the last so many years, and a lot of them burly looking mother flippers in there with big old beards, bigger than mine. A lot of people had facial hair, big ass beards, and then there was just some regular guys that really weren't that big. Maybe there's some other big ones in there, but the few guys that I've seen was like CM Punk. Now I do know him. I don't think he wrestles anymore. From what I heard, he went to doing that other fighting, and he didn't do so good at that. But they were really kind of small for wrestlers is what I thought, but who knows, great. It's just different. It's really, you know, if you watched it 20 or 30 years ago and you kept watching it, it wouldn't probably, it's not nothing really new to you. You're used to it. It's, you know, you change and evolve with the times, and Lord mercy, it's crazy now. I don't know if I could ever get into it, watch it all the time or not. I'm glad that they have DVDs out, and that's one good thing that the WWE nowadays does, is putting DVDs out of older wrestling and stuff, and they keep up with their history. They let you still, you know, watch stuff like that. And of course, when they do the Hall of Fame and they induct them guys and stuff and make documentaries and stuff like that, so that's great. You know, I'm always going to be old school and still love to watch stuff like that. New stuff, I don't know. These belts and the ring and just all this glitz and glamour, and the lights are so damn bright. Maybe if I went to one in person and actually got to watch it, I don't know. Never been to one. I wish I could have when I was a kid, when you know, Hogan and all of them was real big. But times do change, and Raw does change big time. So that's it for this video. Just a little thing I wanted to talk about, you know, after work here, and I don't know what else to say about it. It's just craziness. Raw, I guess. I don't know what kind of era they want to call this, but this is really different. And who knows, I might sneak a peek again, but I don't know. I see a lot of the new figures and stuff out when I go to the store. But the cool thing about that is Mattel is really doing good detailed wrestling figures now. And the cool thing is they don't just do the new stuff, the new characters and, you know, wrestlers and stuff. They do the classics too, and that's just great. So that's keeping me on board by buying them. And they're, you know, doing them classic Hasbro ones now. They're called retro, but them are pretty cool too. But you know, watching Hogan and Andre until Stone Cold and The Rock, and now this, I don't know. Till next time.